Hello and welcome to the first Ask Me Anything of 2026 with the Aventus DAO Council. My name is Bilal and I'll be your host. The purpose of this AMA is to give an update on what the Council has been working on and report on the progress of any proposals the community has voted for. The format will be presentations and Q&A mixed together. We've collected 9 questions from the community and added a few extra ones as well. So in today's session, we're going to hear from several people. Matthias is the DAO Council Chair, and he has oversight over everything that the Council does and how it operates. Sean is the founding member of the Council, looks after growth, product, and marketing strategy. Ochi is also a Council member and DAO manager, and she looks after all the business operations. Fernanda is our product owner. She manages the tech workstream and works closely with the development team. And myself, I'm looking after marketing. So we want to jump straight into the questions that the community have asked us. And the first topic that we're going to cover is trying to give a general outlook about what the DAO is focused on. And we had a really fantastic question from one of the community members, Sam. And his question was, what does the DAO see as its short-term and long-term targets for 2026? And for this, Matthias, over to you.
Sure. Well, short is very clear, is continue the node sales. So we are getting into the final stages of the funding tranche. So this will mean that everything is set up and start preparing for to get event going. So all the developers will start implement what is the bigger vision. We will medium to long term. We will continue with the node sales to improve the network, to widen the network and make it stronger, and then focus on Appchains as well. So new Appchains, including existing clients of Aventus, to get them as Appchain. And that's really network growth is the big picture for this year. Behind the scenes, there's been a lot of work going on, especially Ochi has been doing incredible work behind the scenes, completing the transfer from the old setup to the new DAO, meant transferring the entire team. That meant find out, but Ochi will give you a much more detailed overview on that.
Thank you so much. We'll jump into some specifics a little bit later on with Sean. And what I want to focus on a little bit more is add more context about the organization side of how the DAO operates and how the community comes into it, because it is absolutely critical that the community help to deliver all the goals for that Aventus has in mind. And to give a very brief overview, as I see it, the community has oversight. So they give the long-term direction, they come up with initiatives, proposals, and they make major structural decisions. And then it's over to the DAO Council and also the team who work for them to handle all the execution. So they basically deliver the mandate of the community. They give regular updates to them, communicate properly, and also listen to feedback along the way and adjust course if needed as well. So that's how I see it. But the question is that specifically, how can the community help the DAO overall? They're members of the DAO, but how do they actually help on a practical basis?
We have social media channels, forums. So there's a forum for community members to give us guidance and strategic input. But we are always happy for recommendations, for back, and as long as if it's constructive feedback, we're happy to work with the community and try to find spots to any solutions that we think will bring we're always happy to feedback. The community is obviously our biggest promoter, so we hope that the community, by talking about the process, that will help grow the network. And we've reached out to us how they can help with node sales, and so those are very good ways to help us. And then once the Aventus Cloud is close to launch, there will be ways for everyone who's also a bit more on the developer side, very happy to get their input as well on the final city of the Appchains and the Aventus Cloud.
Okay. And to go into a little bit more detail about this, because it's really important that everyone understands how to work together. But what is the best way for the community to actually work with the DAO Council? So, for example, what are the main mechanisms? Some are formal and some are informal. And also, how should the DAO Council respond back as well?
Yeah, so informal, there's social media. There are plans or discussions if we change the way we currently interact with the community, but we want to make it in a way that we are efficient as possible. We council interacts through you, Bilal, and through we will discuss, I think, the point and a planned ambassador proposal as well. And so those are the more informal approaches. The formal is, as mentioned in the others, is proposals, commenting on proposals and voting on proposals. Communities is always free, and which ultimately, if successful, the council has to implement as long as they are legal and feasible. And the community can add value there is not only by commenting on it, make sure that all the different aspects, and then ultimately voting using their AVT and the right to vote.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you so much for that, Matthias. I think the main takeaway for this from the community is that communication is really important. And the DAO, everyone in the DAO consider themselves to be part of the community as well. And so we want everyone to work together. There is genuine goodwill, I think, from both sides to work together, which is really good. And so we definitely want to build on that. Right. So let's step forward to the next section, and we want to drill down into specifically what is happening with the proposal for the Aventus Cloud. And there's a lot of talk in the community and also with partners as to what's happening here. There's a lot of movement. So this is actually probably the most anticipated kind of update. So over to Sean to let us know what's happening.
Thanks, Bilal. And thanks everyone for joining. I hope 2026 is going great for everyone so far. It's been a lot of work over here at Aventus, but it's a very exciting future. So we're all excited over here. We can start off with some good news regarding the founding tranche. So I have confirmation from our node sellers that the founding tranche nodes have been sold, which is an incredible milestone, a very important one, an exciting one. It's kind of the necessary milestone to allow us to continue on this journey and grow in the ecosystem. So that's great news. There'll be an official announcement regarding that the founding tranche being sold coming soon. We're just waiting for the funds to actually land before we make that announcement, but we have confirmation of that being sold. So that's fantastic. Looking to the future of node sales. So a lot of the work that me and the team have been doing is actually setting the foundation for these node sales to continue flowing through. So actually just on Sunday, I was on a 4-hour call with around 250 people, educating one of the nodes communities on Aventus Cloud, making sure everyone's ready so that the wheel can keep on turning. So the founding tranche is sold now, but the important thing is that for the rest of the nodes, we've got another 34,000 for sale. The machine is ready to keep those node sales flowing through, which is fantastic. A little update on the node sellers. So the partnerships we have so far, we have signed the node sales agreement with Block Terminal, Node, KNOWD.io, and TechSafe. So we've been working closely with them, making sure they have all the education they need for their communities and leaders. And we have integrated their platforms with an API, which will allow each of the node sellers to basically ping our API and see what the current node for sale is, to avoid any race conditions and that kind of thing. So the integration is going great, and the partnerships are going great, and we are very on track for a good few months with the Genesis tranche coming through with the node sales. A few little bits on some executive updates in general. So the base migration, conversations there are continuing with the base team. I've had a few calls with them. They're very happy to go ahead with the migration. From our side, we've scoped out the work there. That's around a 50K build out from our tech team. And so we're just making sure we can extract that value back with marketing initiatives and partnerships, introductions to some of the companies that work with them. We want to make sure that it's actually worth it for us to spend that 50K. Obviously, our tech team at the moment is doing a great job, and they're incredibly busy. We're building out the Aventus Cloud actual nodes, which is quite complicated software. So we want to make sure that if we allocate time from our tech resource, we're really getting back that value. There's a new bridge, which I believe is going to be announced later this week. So you can all take a look at that. It's looking very good. So this is a bridge from the Ethereum network to the Aventus network for AVT to move across those two networks, which we'll announce and post a link for that at the end of this week. The ambassador program. So there's a proposal that's gone out to the community. I'm very excited about this. I've been talking with who we proposed as the head ambassador, Seth. Who other than Seth to lead this program? As some of you might know him as Pac-Man. But I've actually spoke with Seth this morning, and we're very excited about what we can do here. We've already got some great ideas. I know there's been quite a few comments on the proposal itself, so I'm going to go later today and respond to all of those and address any concerns and make sure we're all happy with this program moving forward. But I think this program has a great future, and it's something good for us to do now, just as we're going into this new phase. So that's great. Open sourcing. So our tech team, big shout out to our tech team. They've been doing great. Open sourcing all of our code and protocols, which is actually quite a big undertaking. Even if it sounds like it's not, there's a lot of quality assurances and documentation that needs to be prepared to do something like open sourcing. And that's gone through very smoothly, which is amazing. And then the Aventus Cloud nodes. So the tech team also is absolutely smashing that. We are on track for our deadline. So we've got a hard deadline of the 31st of March for the Aventus Cloud nodes to be live and generating rewards. And our main focus here is on making it as simple as possible for the end user, for the node operator. So you don't need any tech knowledge or anything like that. They should really just basically press play. And that should all just work in the background with an activation link. So we're making great progress there and well on track to hit our deadline.
There's a lot of announcements coming out in the next couple of weeks then. And I think the community is probably most happy to hear that the foundation tranche has been sold out, which is really good news. That gives a lot of stability and direction about what the strategy we're going to take over the next few months. The good thing is that the community are particularly really interested in this. So most of the questions actually are on this topic. And so we can drill down them. So the first one is actually about timing. I think you've answered it a little bit just now, but when will the Aventus Cloud go live?
Yeah, sure. So the Aventus Cloud nodes will go live end of March, 31st of March. At that point, they will be generating rewards. So anyone that has bought a node up until that point will at that point receive an activation link. And then as long as their node is hitting the uptime requirements, eight heartbeats, 8 hourly heartbeats, they'll be given their share of the daily rewards. So end of March, the Aventus Cloud nodes go live.
Great. And then when that happens on that day, which app chains will be live and running?
Yeah, sure. So this is an important point. So the 31st of March is for the Aventus Cloud nodes to go live. There is another 3-month timeline after that. So end of Q2 for the infrastructure to be ready to actually host the app chains. So in the Aventus ecosystem already, we have a few app chains, Energy Web X, the Voucher Ledger, the Truth Network. So we're going to be working with them to see which of those we can onboard. But then the big focus now obviously goes, a lot of my job was making sure this founding tranche got over the line. And now the big focus is going to be towards getting this pipeline of app chains, so we can really keep those coming through. So day one, there will be no app chains. Day one, March 31st, will just be the Aventus Cloud nodes with the daily AVT. And end of Q2, we will be ready to onboard the app chains, and we have some sort of current app chains in the ecosystem we're looking at, and we're generating a big pipeline of app chains moving forward as well.
And I think that the immediate question for a lot of people would be, there's a lot of work to onboard developers, give them time to kind of build out their own platforms and protocols. But one concern that one community member asked is, what if those protocols get delayed? And what if they kind of like not able to launch their own token? What if they're not able to launch their protocol and go to mainnet, within a reasonable time, and they need more and more and more time? Then it would affect the rewards within the cloud node, the node hosters. So how would you address that?
Yeah, sure. So I guess delays are just a part of life. I don't think any company in existence has ever operated without delays, especially when there are multiple parties involved. One thing that we can do, obviously, we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that delays don't happen. Inevitably, some delays might happen. We're not going to be rolling out Appchains sort of in a sequential manner. So like one after the other. So the pipeline is going to have a few that we're working on at the same time, such that some should launch, even if some do have delays. And this is going to be an ongoing pipeline, right? So it's not really going to stop. There's going to be a steady stream of these app chains that we're onboarding. So delays are inevitable sometimes, but we're not going to put all of the weight on one of them launching on time. We're going to hedge our bets with other app chains.
Okay, now specifically, this is a question about rewards from a community member, and they're asking, why should they buy an Aventus node if the primary return is going to be paid in AppChain tokens? But if you can tell us a little bit about the rewards mechanism for the node holders, the node managers.
Yeah, sure. So I would actually say that is the reason to buy an Aventus Cloud node, in fact. So I think a good analogy here is drawing between sort of compute cloud platforms like AWS. So essentially what we're doing here with Aventus Cloud is a decentralized hosting layer for other nodes to come and sit on top of. So it's a bit like AWS. Any company that decides to host their compute on AWS, that company then pays AWS. As a node operator, as a holder of the node, you're contributing towards this network, and you're getting paid for these app chains having the privilege of hosting on Aventus Cloud. So getting paid in AppChain tokens is actually the value, really, of Aventus Cloud nodes. That's kind of the proposition that we've made with Aventus Cloud, which is a very sort of original one and a good one. And you can think of it more like, over time, your node is going to start accumulating a portfolio of tokens for the app chains that have been hosted on top of Aventus Cloud. And there is no real upper limit to this. There's no ceiling. So this is ongoing work for the foreseeable future, where every app chain that gets onboarded adds a token to your portfolio that's being accumulated in.
So another question is, because we didn't really give many updates about node sales for the past 3 months, so there's a little bit of confusion about whether the tranche is the same, whether you bought it in November or January. Are the rewards going to be the same for whoever's bought already?
So the answer to that is yes. So the nodes will be ready to run on March the 31st. It doesn't matter when you bought the node before that. From the day that they're ready to run, so every day you'll share that day, and they'll be paid out to all of the active running nodes proportionally. So it won't matter how far in the past you bought your node. Who buys their node afterwards, they'll be given the activation link immediately.
Let's try and cover the last question very quickly. And this is actually quite a deep question, but maybe you could just give a quick answer, and we'll come back to this a bit later, in maybe either in the community or with content, or maybe in another AMA, specifically about the app chain model. It's something new for Aventus, and there is a question about how does it change for the utility of the token, and also the demand of AVT as well compared to the previous model. Like, why do we think that this is a better model than the previous one?
So the utility is going to come in the new model largely because of the staking within the node. So anyone can stake AVT in their node, which will increase the weighting of that node. Essentially, that node will get paid out a higher proportion of the total available rewards. So that's real utility, which means there's a lot of incentive for someone to buy and hold their AVT, because if they stake that, they're essentially getting a larger proportion of the total rewards that are paid out that day. And obviously over time, as we onboard more and more app chains, you probably want a bigger portion of the rewards. So I think that's part of the model that adds real utility into AVT, and that's probably the bigger difference.
So the next person who's going to talk is going to be Fernanda. So I'll hand over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Balo, and good afternoon, everyone. I'll be sharing today a few highlights, right, of the work completed by the product and tech team since our last update, and also what is coming next for us. So first, we are very happy to report that the open sourcing is now completed. All the functional repositories, including the infrastructure code, have been open sourced, and everything is now centralized under the Aventus DAO organization. The team has also completed the key infrastructure and platform upgrades. For example, Terraform provider was upgraded, which allows us to maintain consistency and long-term support. The gateway Lambda was also upgraded to Node 24, that is to keep our core services on a more modern and secure runtime. The team has also rolled out the revert lower functionality to production, which gives us a safer and more controlled rollback behavior, right, in case any problems arrive in the future with the lower. On the Polkadot SDK upgrade side, the team has made very good progress as well. We are currently at version 1.17, which is much closer to our targeted version, which is 1.18. The Aventus Evolution core capabilities were also progressed, so including the palettes for node sales and heartbeat management, for light node on-chain validation, and also snapshot-compatible Ethereum AVN address mapping. On another front, the staking has been deprecated and that work has been completed, but the team also continues to provide technical support to community members when needed. Besides that, the team also introduced a generic burn mechanism that automatically will relocate a portion of the transaction fees that is to be aligned with the updated tokenomics. And also, besides that, the legacy infrastructure has been decommissioned, that is to reduce the operational overhead and just eliminate outdated components. So that's a few highlights of the work completed. And moving forward, looking ahead, the main focus areas would be on the Explorer improvements. That includes clearer transaction outcomes, stronger search, and also improved visibility of the system events. The continuation of the Aventus Cloud evolution, that's with further work on the node rewards, the staking and fee calculations. The voting dApp will also be decommissioned as we complete the transition to the new governance approach. And finally, the rollout of the new bridging dApp to production, that is to deliver a unified approach, right, a single bridge experiencing. So that's it from the product and tech, and I pass it back to you, Balal, please. Thank you.
Fantastic. Let's jump forward a couple of slides to the update about business operations. And so I'll hand over to Ochi.
Thank you, Balal. Hello, everybody. Hope you're having a good start to the year. So in terms of the business ops update, I don't think we had one in December. So going back to the date when we obtained our license to operate from Aventus DAO. So that was 18th of November. So since from that date until the leading up to the Christmas period was, I would say, primarily focusing on the legal and compliance side. Because we the team and the operations of Aventus kicked off effective from 1st of January 2026. So in order to prepare for that, we've gone through loads of legal agreements and successfully transferred our entire team as well as our existing clients, and have been able to review the vendors and service providers that we have worked at Aventus Network Services Limited. And then moving on to the next step is that Matthias earlier alluded to, that there have been quite a lot of significant work in terms of the setting up DAO. However, since our team have been working together for quite some time, and some of our engineers been with us over 7 years, so we already know how we work together, and there is a great rapport across the whole DAO team. So we were able to reduce the teething period, as it happens to whenever we set up the new entity. Especially in this case, it's a slightly different, that the added challenge is that it's a completely different jurisdiction to the UK, where the other entities have operated with. So for that, now our team have been effectively working under the Aventus DAO roof, and continue to deliver our projects. But at the same time, from the operations point of view, we are still refining our policies and procedures and putting more aligning to the Emirates, and as well as the RAC DAO requirements. And also, again, on the flip side of the activity is that Aventus Network Services Limited, the UK entity, is we're looking to dissolve the entity by the end of the current quarter. So the current work is to just preparing for that. So this is the current position of the community treasury finance. It is quite transparent, as you know. Anybody who would like to have a look at all the transactions that are currently taking place through the Ether scan. So I put the link there. You're able to review the numbers there. Just one more thing wanted to add is that there's an extra line I added for the true daily reward tokens that we receive. Since December, the Truth Network paused all the lowering of the tokens from the sub wallet. So until such time where we're able to lower our tokens to our wallet, then I will be reporting them separately in the separate line. So then our community is able to see overall the bigger picture of all the assets that the treasury holds. I believe that is it from me. Thank you.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much. I think we can definitely make some of this information public to our community. For example, like the wallet address and other things, so people can just monitor it. We're trying to be as transparent as possible. Thanks, Ochi. Right. So we'll move on to the marketing update, which is actually my section. And this is basically my first month. And the focus of the past few weeks has really just been to support the node sellers, those 3 or 4 resellers, and we needed them to sell out the tranche for us to kind of come up with our strategy for the next phase, which we've been doing. So I think that's gone. I'm very, very happy to announce that has actually been completed. And the challenge now for nodes is now going to be for the next tranche. It will actually be opening up to retail buyers as well. So I think so far it's all been resellers, but now retail can go and buy directly from one of these resellers. Well, they couldn't do before. So now we need to help them even more to make sure that the Aventus proposition is kind of marketed and sold properly. So there's a lot more work to do here as well, and make sure that all the channels are working. Another focus of the marketing team has been a completely new content strategy, and there's a lot of great work done already over the past few months, few years. But now with the cloud coming on board, we actually have a bigger audience. We have developers, we have business teams, we have node hosters. So we have to widen our content and increase the variety of content that we're going to be producing, and also on more channels. And it has to be more interesting, because the way that content is consumed nowadays is a lot different to even what it was last year. So we're trying to come up with new ideas of what we can do to make it really fresh and interesting, and just simplify content for some audiences, but have deep dive informative content for other audiences. We don't want to make it too simple and make it too complicated. So there's a lot of kind of diversity here. And for the community, my general proposition for the community is that there shouldn't really be any moderation. I don't like the idea of having kind of like people in charge of the community who kind of like almost police the community. There should just be a basic minimum that, okay, no spamming, no harassment, no kind of nonsense. We're here to kind of work together and help each other. So everyone can just help each other basically in the community. So I've kind of essentially taken away a lot of the mods over the past couple of weeks, and now there's really no moderation in that community. So I hope that people can kind of help each other more, and perhaps now we can come up with better ideas about how we can improve the community communication, and so that everything is a lot more better and more open. I have a lot of ideas about this, but we can go into this in a little bit more detail. Specifically, I've actually been waiting for the ambassador program to be approved, and then I can work with the ambassador to kind of really polish the next phase for the community. A lot of the focuses over this month has been to prep for the Aventus Cloud. So, for example, it means that updating all of our marketing materials, all of our collateral, and even means that we need to refresh the entire website. Since now we have this new kind of new mechanism of what Aventus is and who it's for. So there's a lot of work to be done there as well. Work's already started, and there's a lot more to do next month as well. And also, I wanted to do a monthly town hall, but there was so much change, and also we didn't have the ambassador program. We didn't have a very clear idea about what exactly we're planning to do, and also it's kind of again holding back for that founding tranche to be sold out. And now there's more clarity. I definitely want to hold a town hall next month, and this would actually I want it to be led by the community. So it's even like I would be the guest, and it will actually be hosted by a community member. That would actually be my ideal setup. So I hope we can actually do that. So I want to really devolve management of the community to the community, so I can just focus on content, basically. Regarding content as well, the reason I mention it again and again is even basic things like, say, typing in Aventus, a perfume company comes up, for example, on YouTube, and even on Google and other places, and there's other Aventus brands out there as well. And I want Aventus DAO to be the #1 kind of result whenever you search on event. So this is essentially to win at that game. It's actually really both quality and quantity of content is really important. So that's like an entire that will just probably eat up most of my focus over the next 1 month. Specifically over on social media, a quick update. The kind of content you will see will change. So we're going to introduce things like research, infographics, more education, articles, product explainers. And we've also got the weekly update, which is coming once a week already. And the engagement has now, over Christmas, we went quiet. So we can see at the beginning of this graph, it's kind of very flat. But now we've increased the number of replies and then the amount of posts, roughly 1 per day in terms of a post on our main account, and around 20 to 30 replies and comments on other accounts to increase our visibility. But we're actually taking more time and effort to write those so it's more interesting. So we're actually part of a conversation. So it's not really about trying to only get vanity metrics, but actually we want to come across on the internet as smart people, that we actually have good opinions. We have like a strategy in place, and we want people to know about it, that this is what Aventus is, and this is our vision for the future of crypto, of blockchain, and we want people to actually respect it and understand it. So it's really about quality as well as quantity. So I would say overall, we haven't really hit a growth right now. We're still kind of maintaining whatever we did in the past, but again, better content and more content will lead to growth, but it's a lot of effort. So that's a big focus. Specifically in terms of questions, there were 2 from the community, but one I came up with myself was about the proposal, that there's a number of proposals which are active right now. And over the coming months, there'll be more and more which will be proposed and will become active. But then I think one problem is we post updates on social media, but it's very hard that, if you didn't check in for a couple of days or even a couple of weeks on social media, you might have missed the update. And then you come in and say, hey, what about this and what about that? So what I would propose actually is a web page for the proposals where we even kind of list out what proposals are active, and then also write down a tracker and include all the updates into that as well. So people can go to one page and see exactly what is the status of this proposal and that proposal, rather than having to come to community and ask the question again and again. I think that's a much better way to update people so they know where to go as to what's happening. So the next question actually, somebody asked, are we looking to list AVT on any extra exchanges? The answer is yes and no, because it's actually a very complicated question, because if you just start listing your token on multiple exchanges, then and there isn't the demand, the volume to actually handle all those different exchanges, it can dilute the volume across all the exchanges, and it leads to essentially kind of you having a problem having to manage those exchanges very, very, very directly. So right now we're not looking to list anywhere, but we already have kind of conversations happening. But let's see what happens later in the year. If we have more demand for AVT and also more regions around the world as well, not only say Western exchanges, but in particular, for example, Asian exchanges are really important. In particular, I would say Korea is really important, where there's massive volume, and also other places around Asia as well. And also, we're already listed in Coinbase, and maybe in Europe as well, some local exchanges. This will give us more coverage into new markets and possibly have better demand as well. So this is an ongoing conversation. We'll just see how it goes. The next question was about CoinMarketCap. Are we going to start posting content there? Absolutely, yes, we would. The problem is right now is actually I couldn't log in to our account using the marketing login. So I've actually submitted a ticket to CoinMarketCap saying, please can I have access so I can start posting. They're very slow, but hopefully in the next week or so, we should get access. Not only CoinMarketCap, but also Binance Square and CoinGecko. We already have communities out there already. And they open up new audiences where we can talk about our token utility, about Aventus Cloud and lots of other things. Just the more we talk in more different communities in more areas, the better it is for Aventus and also, of course, for AVT as well. So yeah, that's the update for marketing. I think we're pretty much done. What we'll do next is we will post an update in our community, and we will actually upload this recording to YouTube. And in the future, we would love to have more interaction, more questions, and we'd love to get your feedback about how this session went and what we could add to it, or what we could remove as well. We're very happy that you could listen in. And so I'll say thank you from me, and also thank you from the council as well.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of